it all started at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. And the first patient that I worked with was Brandon. Brandon was a bright and aspiring high school senior whose goal was to become an engineer. Unfortunately, Brandon had been diagnosed with leukemia and was undergoing treatment at the Children's Hospital. To support Brandon's engineering aspirations, I provided him with a mystery box that held a variety of physical and digital materials, such as a microcontroller, some LEDs, string, plastic cup, and other non-electronic collaterals. And I asked Brandon to design and make anything he could imagine. Just overnight, Brandon designed and built a nightlight for nurses. And the purpose of the nightlight was to illuminate a patient's bathroom, allowing nurses to know if any trash needed to be disposed of without turning on a bright light and waking up the patient. So, just like an engineer, Brandon identified a problem and came up with a solution using the materials at hand. And it was this experience with Brandon that inspired me to engage with other children in the hospital using a variety of tangible learning tools. And the results were just multiple demonstrations of children enjoying their learning and also coming up with creative DIY or do-it-yourself solutions. And it was from these experiences that I just thought to myself, I came up with this idea. Imagine if there was a space that could provide children at the hospital with creative outlets and also new learning opportunities. And frequently, this space is commonly referred to as a makerspace. And a makerspace is a physical location where people can gather to share resources and knowledge, work on projects, network, and build. And here's an image of a makerspace at the New York Hall of Science, which is supported by Cognizant. However, these kind of makerspaces present quite a considerable challenge in the unconventional setting of a children's hospital, because safety reasons and cross-contamination issues often arise, which make it difficult for many patients to leave their rooms to participate in such spaces. So I envisioned a clever solution to this issue. I decided to design and construct a mobile makerspace. So mobile makerspaces are mobile maker environments that provide a variety of physical and digital materials that children can explore in their hospital rooms. And children are invited to design and make things that are personally meaningful to them. And to design this makerspace, I took a patient-centered approach. I put the patients and their needs at the center of my initiative. And the kids provided me with a lot of, I think, really cool design ideas, suggesting that the makerspace be colorful and bright. So I attached strips of multicolored LEDs to the inner walls of the cart, which could be controlled by a remote control or a dial. So the kids could pick and choose their favorite colors and customize the color of the cart according to their mood. It also serves as a workspace. 14-year-old patient Christina said, if we had our own space, it would allow us to leave our bed, move around, and feel that we have our own working spot. So I designed the top surface of the makerspace to serve as a workbench, which I encouraged the kids to utilize in their design and making creations. The makerspace also supports collaboration. And if you've ever been into a hospital, the whole social context is rather isolating and depressing, and it's counterproductive to the overall process of getting healthier. So I attached large touchscreen tablets to the mobile makerspaces with communication software. So now patients who have their own individual makerspaces could now virtually collaborate with each other. And I think this picture is quite powerful because the girl with the red t-shirt, she's an 8-year-old girl who has cystic fibrosis, and she's virtually collaborating with an 18-year-old girl who's 2 floors above, who has CF. And it's truly powerful because this relationship extended beyond the hospital stay. These kids are friends to this day, and they're still in contact with each other. But one of the coolest features about the makerspace is that it's quite engaging. I would say it's super, super engaging. It has a variety of circuits, like snap-on magnetic circuits, where you can create a circuit in a matter of seconds. But there's also a 3D printer. This was the first hospital in the world, actually, that allowed a 3D printer to be used in the patient's room for the entire duration of their treatment. And just a quick thing that I'm going to throw out. Do you know what the most popular use of the 3D printer was? The kids would actually use the 3D printer to design and make gifts for their favorite nurses, child life specialists, and doctors. And I think that's just amazing how these kids were able to use their time in the hospital to give back to people who work so tirelessly in helping them get better. just so they never made me any gifts for a while. So I was a little bit like annoyed, and finally they made me gifts when I said I'm going to take the 3D printer away. But so after creating like a prototype of the mobile makerspace, I spent the next 6 to 8 months conducting research to better understand how these makerspaces supported patients' learning and also creativity. And over the course of those 6 to 8 months, I noticed that children's creations fell into 4 general categories. The first one was artifacts to decorate their room, devices that could solve privacy issues, gadgets that could depict their mood, and my favorite and most popular among patients were contraptions intended to scare or prank adults, especially nurses. And I'm going to share some of the really cool and awesome things that the kids actually came up with. So patients, families, and loved ones take a lot of time and effort to make the patient's room bright, colorful, and just simply more enjoyable. So 14-year-old patient Christina and her grandmother came up with this beautiful rotating Suncatcher to decorate her room. Her grandmother helped to scavenge many of these materials, from the metal crystal to the heart-shaped wrapping paper to the wire, all found around the hospital. Designing and making the Suncatcher allowed Christina and her grandmother to bond and spend quality time together. This is cool, pooping bell. Do you see that term? This is the only time I can use the word pooping so many times. So this girl built a pooping bell, which actually solves a privacy issue in the hospital. So this is 17-year-old patient Lori. Lori has cystic fibrosis. So cystic fibrosis is a chronic lung disease, but also affects the digestive system. And many of these patients spend so much time in the bathroom. And so Lori would get like so annoyed when she would open the bathroom door to find people in her room. She could never hear people knock on the door. So she designed a modified version of a doorbell called a pooping bell, which she left outside her door. And so anytime somebody had to enter, they would have to press a button. I would cause a rather like loud buzzing sound to go off inside her room. So when Lori was in the bathroom, she would know that somebody outside wants to enter. Isn't that cool? Can we all yell pooping just once loudly? This is so, you guys are too serious. Can we just yell pooping once? Pooping? Ah, woosah, okay, that was good. This is a super, super cool thing. Travis built this mood necklace and using the mobile makerspace. And I asked Travis, hey, why did you build this mood necklace? And I remember that day, he looked at me and he said, Gokul, imagine if somebody asked you like 20 times a day, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Are you okay? Wouldn't you get pretty annoyed? And I said, yeah, Travis, I would be really annoyed. So he built a mood necklace to better convey how he felt. For example, a green light would be, hey, I'm in a good mood. You can talk to me. Well, a red light would be, hey, you know what? I'm not in a good mood. Just back away. I feel everyone needs a mood necklace over here, right? So you can have a light saying, I'm hungry. We need to go for lunch. But this is really, really cool. So this is another, I think I'm saying everything is cool, but I think that, yeah, that's just really awesome. So pranking or scaring nurses is a popular pastime for children in the hospital. One of the nurses was telling me that every time she entered the patient's room, the child would jump out of somewhere scaring her, and she would drop everything she was carrying. I mean, the child would get like a hoot out of it, but the nurse not so much. This girl, Mandy, she used materials at the Makerspace to build what appears to be a rotating snake coming out of its den, ready to strike anyone near its vicinity. Can you see she created a large, like, beware dangerous snake sign? And her snake actually scared quite a few unsuspecting nurses, but more importantly, created a lot of laughter and joy for people in the hospital. Some of the nurses got angry at me for allowing kids to build all this. So, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could prank our own bosses? No, I think we need a mood necklace which says red no. So these are just few of the stories, like inventions that the kids came up with, and there's so many others that I wish I had time to like share with all of you. But I want to share something which is kind of important with this whole design. So in addition to observing how much the Makerspace stimulated patients' creativity and learning, I was getting feedback from healthcare providers that the kids were a lot more active. And so I decided to use wearables to better track patient data. And at that time, Intel was supporting this project, and we used one of their first wearables, which was the Basis Peak, to track physical activity data. And the results were truly, truly fascinating. For one of the patients, without the mobile makerspace in her room, she only took 320 steps an entire day. But with the makerspace in her room over a period of 7 days, the total number of steps started to increase daily to around 2,400 steps. That's nearly a 7.5-fold increase in steps. And this got me thinking, what if these mobile makerspaces were more than just learning environments? What if they could also be therapeutic environments? And that's why I came up with the term maker therapy. And the way I define maker therapy is it's a way to physically motivate chronically ill patients to be more active in their learning, but also striving to enhance their agency and identity while in the hospital. And I truly believe maker therapy has the potential to bridge two of our largest service sectors in society, the healthcare field and the education field. And just to close, I think just the privilege of working alongside these patients just gave me the opportunity to see these kids as more than just sick kids in the hospital, but rather as bright, imaginative, and inventive kids who have the potential to design and create and also live fuller and healthier lives. And I know that all of you see the incredible opportunity we have in creating this more hopeful world with the implementation of maker therapy.